Ready. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I'm Sybil Wilkes, and everyone is here today.
The
Chris
blackest
Paul,
show on the internet.
Huggy Lowdown, and Coy Malone. Hello,
You
everyone.
didn't have to say my name after you said that, Sybil.
I wasn't
The
expecting
blackest
that.
show on the
On the
internet. What's up,
internet.
Huggy Lowdown? What's up, Sybil? Hey, Coy. What's up, Chris?
What
Hey,
up?
hey,
How
How's
y'all doing?
everybody doing?
It's
Good.
good. It's
pretty
good.
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 Everybody
Pretty
have
good.
having good days, bad days in between.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We're here. We're living.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you, Huggy.
we can't even complain
Thank you.
about that.
Thank
Can't
you.
complain about
And
life.
and always with the interesting is Coy Malone. What's most interesting these days, Coy?
Well, a lot of people have been wondering what's going on with my case, and I went to court today. Finally, went to court and pretty much got. I would say I'm 98% happy with the results of my case.
Okay. All right. Well, 98 is pretty good. I
That's
don't know
damn good numbers right there. I don't know what
what
you wanted, but
I
Hold
don't
on.
know
that,
what
Hold
that
on.
2% left would
What's the
be.
verdict? Because Huggy and I have a bet going. What is it?
Well, I'm not in jail. I'm not in
And
jail right
Damn
now.
it!
and
I lost.
Not going. Not
Damn
going
it.
back.
Damn it.
that was never the bet.
But it was one of the things that the state was trying to pursue charges was to put me back in jail for a mandatory at least 10 days. I was able to get past that.
Okay, so there may be people who don't know about your case, and it has been going on for a long time, and we may have some people. So quickly, can you just kind of catch us up to date with what happened and what happened when you were arrested, and what happened as you now clean this up?
Yeah, so I was getting pulled over by a state trooper. What I decided to do was to pull over in a lighted area so I could see the state trooper could see me, and other people could see us because we were on a very busy stretch of a highway where it's very dark. And I've had people that I know of that have been killed in situations like this, as well as there's been a lot of recent accidents with officers getting hit on the side of the highway here in Atlanta, pulling people over. So that was my main concern. As I was pulling over at 15 miles per hour, the state trooper decided to hit me with a pit maneuver, pull out a gun, put on handcuffs, and throw me in the back of his patrol car without question. And next thing you know, I was going to jail.
And your boyfriend was in the car with you.
Yes, he was in the car with me. He gave my boyfriend a breathalyzer, didn't give me one. I
Your
was told
boyfriend was a passenger. You were
yes,
driving, and he got the breathalyzer.
yes. And so I was told I was going to get a blood alcohol test at the hospital. At which time I asked about this 3 times. He confirmed, yes. I go to the hospital. They just give me ibuprofen. I'm handed citations as I'm being locked in jail. And I see one of the charges is evading, which is trying to say that I was leading the police officer on a high speed chase or trying to run away, not trying to, comply. Speeding, and he wrote me up for a DUI and said I refused to take the breathalyzer or any type of sobriety test, which was all false. If anybody knows me, I always have this thing with me. Always drinking a ton of water. One thing I have learned, do not tell an officer you have had a drink. It does not matter what time of day or night or whatever. And that's where I made my mistake, because I did earlier that day, probably like around 7 that evening. But this happened around 3 a.m. after teaching a 2.5 hour dance class. So there is no way that I was anywhere near the legal limit. And officers are allowed to say, well, you refuse, so here's this type of citation. And I
Okay.
feel like, it
So
led to these charges,
so
basically, to cover him.
with the short amount of time we have in this segment, what happened today?
So today I go to court. I have completed community service ahead of time to show that I'm being proactive with my case. So the judge accepted that, and it was actually 10 hours less than what was required. I did complete a Mothers Against Drunk Driving class, so they accepted that as well. I'm still on probation, unfortunately. I have 6 months of probation. I don't necessarily have to report. The 2% that I don't like about my case is that probation, and that I still have fines equaling about $700 plus whatever I have to pay at the Department of Driver Services in order to get my physical license back. It's not suspended, but I do have a fine to pay with that. So I think all in all, I have about $1,000 in fines to pay.
Well, congratulations. We're glad that there is some progress in this case that has been going on for a while, and we will continue to keep up to date with you and what you're going through. And
Our weekend wasn't that exciting. Huggy and I had a good weekend. We were in Massachusetts, and thank you to the people of Massachusetts.
Okay, so let us
We
talk
weren't
about...
performing. We weren't performing. We got on Ron DeSantis' bus and ended up there.
Can we talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter? And that will be a part of the discussion. The What You Need to Know newsletter is our absolutely free subscription to our daily newsletter, Monday through Friday daily. And it is super serving the African-American community with the stories that we write, the stories that we bring to you, to the readers. And please go to SybilWilkes.com to sign up for it. We'd love to have you as a part of the What You Need to Know news crew. And before we get to the migrant story, let's talk to Coy about how crowdfunding helped a teenager who was unjustly punished.
Yes. Some of you may have heard the story about a Piper Lewis who was 15 years old at the time in 2020 when she was repeatedly raped by a man by the name of Zachary Brooks, who was 37 years old at the time. She's now 17 years old. And this happened in how do you pronounce this city? Des Moines.
Mm-hmm. Like
We're messing that up because it's
like
French,
Loin, Des Moines, Loin.
Des Moines, Iowa. And what happened with this young lady was she ran away to escape her abusive stepmother. She ended up being taken in by a 28-year-old man who became her boyfriend. This man forced her into a sex trafficking arrangement between him and the then 37-year-old Zachary Brooks, who raped her repeatedly. He would give her marijuana and alcohol. She would pass out. He would rape her while she was unconscious. At one point in time, her boyfriend forced her to go to this man's apartment to return with $50 worth of weed. So what happens during one incident when this man Brooks is asleep, she grabs a knife and stabs him more than 30 times. Now, she pleads guilty in June 2021 to voluntary manslaughter and willful injury, which both carry 10-year prison sentences. But what the judge decided to do was to defer her judgment last week on September 13th, meaning she won't serve any prison time. She'll serve 5 years probation with a GPS tracker at a halfway house, 200 hours of community service. Her record will be expunged. However, she was ordered to pay Brooks' family $150,000 in restitution, which is crazy because
for taking the rapist's father away from his family.
Yes, and prosecution found fault with her statements, with her testimony, and what have you, because they felt like she wasn't taking responsibility and accountability for her actions. Though she is also a victim, and this is what she said in one of her statements, that I too am a victim. She was a survivor, but they're punishing her. So here we are with this $150,000 restitution that she has to pay to the quote-unquote victim's family.
So what's the answer to that?
Him. In response to this, her former teacher, Leland Shipper, created a GoFundMe that has now raised over $540,000 on behalf of Piper.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Almost 4 times what she needed.
Yes.
She has gotten in this crowdfunding.
If you've subscribed to our newsletter, we have posted the link to the GoFundMe in the story that I featured about Piper Lewis in today's edition of What You Need to Know.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. That's another one of those stories I would love to have her on to talk about this, because it's one.
Make it happen, Coy.
One of survivorship, but also it's one of we need to let this young woman know, as if she doesn't know already, by the donations, that we are with her, we stand with her, and somebody needs to make some sense out of this judge and his decision that he
Where does
handed
this
down.
take place?
Iowa.
Oh,
In
wow.
Iowa,
Oh,
and
you said that.
apparently this was the judgment was made in accordance with Iowa law. Apparently, this is
So
what
let's
the
talk
judge
to
was
the
saying.
legislators who made this law and how
Right.
ridiculous is this? All right. Well, good on you, Piper. Congratulations. I'm glad that your life is taking on and without the burden of debt, trying to raise a ridiculous amount of money for a man that raped you repeatedly and made your life a living hell. Good on you for your teacher and all those folks that helped in this effort. All right. Chris Paul, you want to talk about migration and going to Massachusetts on a plane? Thanks to Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, and also 2024 presidential candidate.
I mean, if they had a versus between DeSantis and your governor down there in Texas, who would win for being the worst?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
That's a tough call.
Youngkin.
He's a special guest that comes out.
You got Tate, you got Youngkin, you got there's some trash ass governors, bro.
But I was on the internet today on Twitter. I saw someone posted the pamphlets that the migrants were getting. Yeah, I mean they're all in Spanish specifically for them, telling them to get on board the plane. When you arrive, you're getting free housing. We're talking about people who just came to this country, and it's like they hit the lottery.
Right.
Free housing. They're immediately going to get hooked up with a job. They're going to get all these food, all these clothes. It's just, and someone compared it to luring children into a van with candy or a puppy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
no
different. Exactly. It's no different.
It's not new, Chris, and it certainly has been done over and over again. Some of these people, and here's the kicker for me, is that this had nothing to do with his state. These were people that he took from San Antonio, Texas,
right?
Flew them to Massachusetts, to Martha's Vineyard on Florida's dime.
And not to mention
the
double racial undertones when you drop some of them off at the first black vice president's house.
Yeah. And that's the buses coming from Texas.
Right. You didn't drop it up in front of the White House. You want to make a statement?
Oh, no, you were very clear.
You're very clear. On Kamala's lawn.
You sent them to the first black female vice president.
Right.
And you sent them to the cities of black mayors, Democratic black mayors.
Right.
It was very clear what their intention was to send one group of people of color to the states and cities of another group of people of color. And one of the interesting things that came out of this, Chris, and we're talking about two Republican governors, especially the governor of Arizona has been involved in sending some people as well. And this is all the way from Arizona to the East Coast. But in the case of Texas, there have been over 10,000 people who have been transferred from Texas to the cities of Chicago, New York, and Washington, D.C. And the most recent bus trips from Texas have gone to the front door of the Naval Observatory, which is the official residence of Vice President Kamala Harris and her husband. One of the things that came out of this, you guys, is the comparison of what DeSantis did in 2022 by flying people to Cape Cod, to Martha's Vineyard, and a comparison to an effort 60 years ago by white segregationists. It was called the Reverse Freedom Rides of 1962. Yeah. And Southern segregationists sought to move Black folks from the South with the promise of jobs and housing in the more liberal northern states, and specifically in Massachusetts. And so they have taken a book out of the white segregationist playbook, taken a page out of the playbook, and have decided that this is how they're going to try to do things. And this is the DeSantis way. And this is the man who wants to take on Donald Trump. But it sounds like they're right in the same, they're playing on the same team. And how you will differentiate between the two of them, I don't know. But they are on their way to making him a Republican nominee for president after he wins. They assume that he wins for his reelection for governor. And this is just, we are now 7 weeks away.
I don't know
7 weeks
immigration law.
away.
I don't know immigration law, but I wish I knew what kind of rights the migrants have. Like can they sue for fraud? I mean, could they sue and make DeSantis and them give them what was promised to them?
That's the question, Chris, is if how they were enticed, how they were cajoled to go into this, what they used, what words they used, were there triggers there that made them think, oh my gosh, you guys are helping me. Because some of these people were already in the system. They had appointments with immigration people already set up before they were transferred to somewhere else. And so you can really best be assured that the immigration specialists and the lawyers and all of those that have been helping people on the southern borders are now helping them as they have arrived to the northern cities. That is number one, that they are making sure these people are taken care of.
Absolutely nothing to these governors.
No.
They're nothing but political pawns.
That's right. That's right. It's a game of chess that most people are trying to play checkers just to get into the United States and to find a place to live.
You should have seen all the response from the pro DeSantis crowd.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, because here's the other part of the whole game of politics is that they are diverting attention away from what people are most concerned about, and that is abortion, and as well as health care and things that the Democrats are pushing for. They want to obfuscate the whole situation and make it look like they are trying to
you don't
get
know the word, Chris? Come on now.
They're trying to confuse people and to play tricks with our heads and our minds with these games and take away from what the people are really concerned about, as we are now 7 weeks away.
What's the word again?
First of all, I do know what ovulate means. Second,
obfuscate means.
Second,
obfuscate.
Being a person of color in this country, it is so frustrating because we are at a time where no powerful white person is ever held accountable for the horrible things they do. From Trump and his people. Look at what we just said those governors did. They're human trafficking.
Yeah.
They're committing fraud. And nothing's going to become of it. I mean, all it will be is public outrage, but nobody's going to pay a price for it.
And just like Coy's story, what happened to this young Black woman, if it had been a white woman, as Coy pointed out, it never would have been an issue.
Right.
They would have applauded her for heroism.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Coy's too
young. And she would have been, they'd have been the Cal Rittenhouse.
Right. Yeah.
Coy's too young to remember. There was a time when politicians had to resign over stuff.
Yeah. I mean, remember that.
If they got caught with a woman that's not their wife sitting on their lap, they had to pull out of the presidential campaign.
And they were leading. They were doing very well. And yeah, I mean, and look at just more recently, look at Al Franken, and he has that old school sense of politics where people said you should resign for the pictures that you took where you were making fun of it.
He shouldn't have resigned.
But these people, they have no sense of guilt and no sense of I don't know. I can't even think of
humanity. Their base doesn't hold them accountable.
Right. At all.
The reason they used to have to resign is because Americans would be so outraged.
Right.
They know they can't win anymore. But now, I'm human trafficking. Let's keep it moving.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly, and the whole thing now is to confuse everybody.
Yeah.
Confuse them and make them believe that, you know what? All this is somehow President Biden's fault. It's all Democrats' fault. Just don't listen to what they're doing. Keep continuing with this Republican agenda and support what we want to do because it's just the right thing. And then tell everybody else that they're wrong, but give them no supporting facts as to why.
When you allow people to overrun the U.S. Capitol and you encourage them from the time you were debating all the way up to the day that this happened, and you will not go and tell them, and people have to push you to go and tell, as the leader of this country, to go home, stop what you're doing. what we're doing, we have to stop doing this. And you still maintain your innocence some 2 years later. That is where we are as a country with the people that they have chosen as their leaders. And they think if he can do it, they can do it too. And they're
Right.
trying to get over on us.
That's why the governors are doing the
And
copy and
that's
paste. They're doing the
exactly.
copy and
They're
paste
copy and
politics.
pasting. That's
And we
great.
can't undumb these Trump supporters at this point. They just
No.
got to show up. It's embedded in them. We
And
cannot
as I
take the Kool-Aid out of their hands. They're going to drink that Kool-Aid.
and as I said in the story, giving a Trump update, he pretty much told Hugh Hewitt, who, excuse me, is a conservative commentator, that if we do indict this president and he goes to jail, the people are going to come out and do horrible things, he said. Okay, so we got to move on. We're getting, the clock is not our friend. Let's move on to the what's really going on segment. And in our question of the day, I'm asking this for a friend. Are you one who would stop watching or listening to a celebrity after he or she has done something you disagree with? And I'm not talking about those political celebrity types. Whether it's boycotting R. Kelly's music, the NFL for its lack of real effort in standing up for social justice, or perhaps you have an example of your own. We'd like to know if there's anything or anyone that you would like that would make you cancel them in your life. Listening to their music, watching their TV shows, going to their movies, perhaps even going supporting NFL. I'd like to have this discussion between us and also the folks that are watching and listening today. And I will tell you why this started, because Yolanda and I were doing another production and talking about R. Kelly. And she is still a supporter of R. Kelly in terms of she won't stop listening to his music because, according to her, the music is everything. And Chocolate Factory, changed her and helped her through a very difficult time. I will not listen to R. Kelly. I'm still not really watching the NFL. I may listen to it, but I'm not watching it so that they can't take any numbers from my listening. And I'm pretty cut and dried when it comes to that. And there's another example that I will also give to you, but I do want to get your opinions on this.
You mean sort of like the Will Smith slap, the way Hollywood and people have boycotted him?
That's another example I have written down here. Yep.
We're in a whole different culture of boycotting. We on some prepaid boycotting right now. Really. We don't boycott like the boycott of our ancestors or our people prior to us. They prepaid boycott.
And if a prepaid. So can we call it boycotting, Hug?
It's not boycott.
Prepaid boycott is not real boycotting. The struggle is no longer as real.
It's more so like the cancel culture that people like to call it now. It's like the
and Coy is giving the air quotes for people that are
because it depends on the day.
It's a right now boycott. It's like, okay, I'm feeling like this right now. I'm not going to watch NFL, but I might check out some highlights. But I'm not going to watch the whole NFL. But
it's like our ancestors; they would be out there marching in the streets against protesting things, ideas, and people sitting at lunch counters. We'll just send a tweet and be like, "I'll tell them."
Right.
Now they know how I feel.
But they was on
I'm not going today, but I'll go on Saturday.
That life with less resources.
I mean, even people talk about, we're going to boycott the gas stations because of the gas prices.
Or a certain brand, certain brand. Chris had a whole set. Had a whole set about boycotting brands, didn't you?
Yeah. There used to be. I mean, boycott should be based on corporations that treat black people or other people dirty. I don't know. It's not a matter. If you just stop. If you were so upset by the slap that you're not going to be a Will Smith fan anymore, that's not really a boycott. That's just you being a consumer. I'm not going to purchase or anything Will Smith is involved in. I'm not going to support his movies and stuff. Same with R. Kelly. You're not boycotting R. Kelly. You're just making a personal choice. I don't F with him no more.
So I think what Coy has called the cancel culture is more apt in terms, because it doesn't have a real profound effect on these things, whether it's economics or what have you.
Temporary
Exactly.
boycott. Temporary boycott.
But I think what also is interesting is the outrage we have with other people who don't share that same, like when Kaepernick was first taking a knee and the NFL blackballed him. I know black people were horrified when they find out black folks were watching the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, what? You are still supporting them after this?
Yeah.
It's horrifying. Yet there are black people who are horrified when somebody is bumping some R. Kelly. Like, they're horrified. I mean,
and you look, not from my barbecue.
I was sitting on my sister's porch, front porch. It always goes down around my sister's neighborhood. So I sit on the porch and get material. So anyway, a car was riding down, and I'm like, I haven't heard R. Kelly music in so long. I'm like, who is that? And then I caught myself. I said, man, that's R. Kelly. I had to catch myself, but people still listen.
Yeah.
They do.
And so go ahead, Coy.
I know it's kind of hard to not listen to R. Kelly because a lot of people don't know, not only is he a singer, but he's also a writer and producer. And he's produced a lot of songs that people aren't aware of unless you really know his sound, his signature, compositions and what have you. I recall a time a few weeks ago, I'm in the car with my boyfriend and I'm like listening to the songs and I asked him, is this an R. Kelly playlist? Because every song that has played thus far, and I think it's like a Spotify channel, every song that you've played thus far has been produced and written by R. Kelly. And he was like, oh yeah, it is an R. Kelly playlist. And I'm like, a lot of people wouldn't even know that. So here you are.
Your boyfriend had that playlist on there, Coy.
Maxwell's biggest song is R. Kelly produced.
Maxwell's biggest song.
Maxwell, it was a I know. So it was a Maxwell song that was playing.
Does he still sing that song though? Does he still sing the song?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know. I haven't been to one of his concerts lately. So that would be interesting to know. Does he still,
So let me ask our audience once again: is there something that that you do not like that would propel you to cancel an entertainer, an athlete, an organization because you don't like the things that they have done?
The NFL for me still.
Yeah.
So I said, you don't like my black, you don't like my green. I stand by that.
Okay.
You don't like my black, you don't like my green. I'm not.
That's
a lot of luxury brands too.
Yeah, right.
Luxury brands. Let's not forget a lot of ideas that they have taken from a lot of black people, a lot of statements that a lot of these CEOs have said about black people, and people continue to go out and spend their money.
And we forget. We get angry.
Make our
and then
brand for that race of people.
Yeah. Yolanda, if we have some people who want to get in the conversation, Denise Cuffey on Facebook said, I did boycott football until Colin Kaepernick got his money. I love me some football, but I won't get season tickets.
Yeah.
I'm still boycotting football.
I get that.
Season tickets kind of. Where she live at, first of all.
Yeah. What team are you? Would you buy the season tickets for? Marcy J on YouTube says, I only listen to R. Kelly music when I'm listening to the music he did with Ron Isley.
See, women can admit that they still listen to R. Kelly. If brothers say I listen to R. Kelly, another dude would be like, oh, I see you like them young girls.
Right.
Young broads.
And
so is that justification, Sybil, that I only listen to music with Ron Isley, so an old dude?
An old dude and a pervert dude.
Call himself Mr. Biggs.
Yeah, exactly. And in the Closet series. Lisa Williams on YouTube says, I'm still boycotting the NFL. I no longer listen to R. Kelly's music. I don't go to Chick-fil-A or Hobby Lobby for whatever it's worth. Good for you. You are committed. I like that.
She says she don't go to Chick-fil-A only on Sunday, Sybil. She boycott Chick-fil-A on Sunday, Sybil.
She's real single. She's real single. She don't do nothing.
And the problem would be,
ain't nothing wrong with that. Ask her where she worked. Twin Peaks.
So I know you all have heard this. Manuel Murphy on Facebook, I boycott anyone who supports Donald Trump. That's a sin I cannot forgive. I'm with you. So no My Pillows for you. manual, huh?
Y'all saw who got canceled yesterday, right? You saw it on social media. Pat Sajak.
No, that's the story. That's the story that I was going to talk about.
Pat Sajak.
Pat Sajak, 40 years.
I never liked Pat. It was something about him, Sybil.
Really?
It was something about Pat Sajak. So I knew it in my heart. Go ahead.
So Pat Sajak took a picture with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman.
Who I call Becky with the strong face.
from Georgia, who has been just a wreck through the United States House over the last 2 years, right? And she's up for re-election. So he took a picture with her, and he's been accused of posing with Nazis.
And they call her, somebody called her Vanna White supremacist.
Vanna White supremacist.
Oh, shoot.
Good
yeah.
line.
So he took this picture, and the Twitter account of Patriot Takes describes itself as dedicated researchers monitoring and exposing right-wing extremism, shared the photo over the weekend, seemingly sparking a wave of negative reactions to the 40-year-plus host of Wheel of Fortune. And somebody was clever enough to create the set of Wheel of Fortune with the letters exposed, with Vanna White standing off to the side, with the letters exposed, spelling the words "posing with Nazis." What Pat Sajak thinks. And this has gone viral, obviously, and a lot of people are talking about what happens now for Pat Sajak, and they're willing not to watch Wheel of Fortune anymore.
I mean, going back to your original question, that's an easy cancel for most people, I think. When you,
I don't know. I don't know.
Black people love some Wheel of Fortune.
They love some Wheel of Fortune, Chris. For some of us, it may not be a problem, Chris, but finish your point.
Like Herschel Walker.
I'm just saying that's a clear-cut case for myself. I mean, when I see you coddling Nazis and all hugging up to them and everything, or going MAGA. I mean, I don't mess with James Woods no more. Scott Baio, Chachi can go to hell.
Right.
All them.
John Boyd.
It's just over.
John Boyd is another one.
And I mean, the way I am now, whenever a white celebrity dies, I instantly Google everything I can
research
before I get on Twitter and be like, rest in peace.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I need to know.
And,
Black Twitter will correct you if you don't know.
Oh, they will tell you, and then they'll cancel you.
Ask the queen. Ask the queen.
Okay. A lot of people, and now I'm drawing a blank. The director who did the Talk to the Empty Chair at the Republican. Clint Eastwood and his Republican leanings. And that was before a lot of, we came to know a lot about
COVID. That was a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
You're still talking to that chair, Sybil.
Yolanda, do we have more people who are giving us their opinions? We'd like to hear from them. But Coy, I'll ask you after we do this. Viella Williams on Facebook says, I refuse to patronize Jimmy John's or watch any Clint Eastwood movies because what was said during the Obama presidential 8 years.
And I think a few people refuse to patronize Jimmy John's. I've seen quite a few.
First of all, it's whack. Jimmy John's is whack.
Jimmy John's or Papa John's?
Both.
Oh, Papa John's
Jimmy
too.
John's
right.
is whack, and not to mention he's a hunter. He loves to go to Africa and kill every big animal he can. And it's one of those. And it's not even one of those where he gets out there and have to hunt these things down. Right. He goes to these organized shoots. Right.
Yeah.
Just like the Trump boys do.
The Trump boys do.
Yep. Oh, and they're famous for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sheila Faye on Facebook said, if we sit at home and boycott, it's self-satisfying, but not changing anything. We have to come together in numbers to make a big difference. And you're absolutely right. We can't just talk about it. We have to be about it.
Right.
And as you say, Chris says, there's some single people out there just not going anywhere
doing nothing
and doing anything. But we do have to make an effort. If we are going to say that we don't like it.
Numbers.
Yeah, we have to hit them where it hurts, and that's in the pocketbook.
In the pocket.
What happened to the boycott where we said we're going to stop spending with big corporations and support Black businesses? What happened to that one? It's just like it started out
Coy,
great, and then it just kind of.
Here's one of my thoughts on that. The corporations started investing in Black businesses to bring people back to them, and so in their eyes, everybody wins. the Black companies win because you now are working with a big corporation, and we've seen that. Just did a story about that a couple of days ago, and they win because the boycott no longer exists.
Didn't it become just one day, like during the holiday season, where everybody's supposed to shop a Black-owned business?
Yep, that was
Yeah, I
that.
think it became just
There's
one day.
Small Business Saturday, and
sound like
there's
the rodeo in Houston to me, Chris. They got one night.
Who do they get to perform? Who do they get to perform? We were in Houston performing when they had the rodeo in Houston. If you don't know how big the rodeo is, it's huge.
The Black people in Houston went crazy.
Who was the artist, bro?
Jason Derulo. I remember.
Oh my God.
They were so mad. I remember because they had Frankie before that, and then somebody else, and then I remember because Jeff was like, "We got Jason Derulo." I mean, they went ballistic.
That's crazy. All right, so thanks everybody for participating. I love some of the comments, and absolutely believe that we should not just talk about it. We have to do something about it. And as Chris said, there are days when, not just days, but we should be supporting, as Coy also pointed out, supporting our Black businesses. It's now time to talk trending topics.
I boycotted a MAGA strip club. The stripper had on a MAGA hat. I told her, "Get up."
You're so silly. It is
she had on was the MAGA hat, by the way. I said all she had on was that MAGA hat.
Right.
So, guys, let's talk about the comedy.
That hat around.
Let's talk about the comedy brunch you have coming up. What else are the fellas going to be on the road with? That comedy brunch, I still have it on my books, is October 9th.
October 9th, the VUU and VSU comedy brunch. Homecoming comedy brunch at the Foundation Room in Richmond on the 9th, but also on Saturday, October 1st, we'll be back in Greensboro at the Dynacon Center.
All right.
We're going to be in Greensboro?
Yes, get your tickets at eventbrite.com.
All right.
We're still funny.
Of course. You're funnier than ever.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I do believe that. So October 1st and October 9th. Coy, do you have anything coming up?
Probation, if anybody would like to donate.
Because you still have fines. You still have fines. Yeah. Well, let me help you out
about that later.
Let me help you out and show people a piece that Coy participated in that our company produced. It is a piece that we did for the Divine Nine regarding the Supreme Court decision and taking away reproductive rights of women. And it's called Tell Somebody Now. And Coy was one of the actresses that participated in our PSA. And if we can, ladies, can we show that right now?
Tell somebody. The Supreme Court's decision overturned nearly 50 years of legal protection of a woman's right to an abortion. As with many things, Black women will be disproportionately impacted by this decision. Tell somebody. 35% of Black women experience some form of sexual violence and even incest during their lifetime. And 1 in 4 Black girls will be sexually abused before the age of 18. For every Black woman who reports rape, at least 15 don't. And when pregnant, the dream of a college degree may be deferred or erased. Tell somebody. Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications. But this decision might take away a doctor's ability to save a woman's life. Tell somebody. Stand up, speak out, and we can stop this assault on women.
Contact your senators and tell them to relax the filibuster and protect women's rights.
Powerful.
Damn!
Powerful. Wow.
Pretty proud of that. Our company, my company with Yolanda Starks-White, Yossi Media, produced that. And that is with the Divine Nine, and it was spearheaded by Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And Coy was a part of that. Did you see Coy in there?
I saw her in bed.
Yeah, she was a patient who was going through one of the pregnant women, and that was one of the statistics finding about the mortality of Black women when they are going through pregnancy distress. And so, great job, Coy. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for participating.
Coy,
yeah,
it
makes it very real.
She did her own stunt, Sybil.
I don't know. I haven't doubled for that one yet. We don't have any yet. Not yet, y'all.
You were gonna say what, Coy?
it makes me sad every time that I think about just the reality of things, that
Right.
there are a lot of pregnant Black women that don't make it out of the hospital.
Right.
And I even think about this, like when I see some coworkers that are currently pregnant now, Black women, and you know, they look happy and they bright and cheery. And I think to myself, how would I feel if I'm working with this woman every day up until the day that she gives birth and she becomes one of these statistics?
Yeah.
Like, how would I feel? And I think a lot of people don't look at it like that. And that's why there isn't as much uproar as there should be about women's reproductive rights.
Well, we're doing our part, and we would love for you to spread the word to hashtag tell somebody now. And you can find that PSA on my YouTube channel, and please spread the word, send that out and share it with as many people as you can. And we want to especially get the word out that you go to your senators. Every state has 2 senators, and people say, well, my senators are on board. Yeah, you know, well, you're lucky. But more than not, many of us are in states where those senators are in agreement with the Supreme Court. And we would like to change that. And we start about the change starting 7 weeks from now. And that is the November 8th election. So early voting, a little less time. Valerie Barr on YouTube said, so powerful. Jennifer Lewis, the great Jennifer Lewis, was the narrator. Absolutely. Yeah, that was a great get too. Getting her to do that. And absolutely, she is the godmother of Black Hollywood, and with a great new book out, and have
got another book out soon?
Yeah, Walking in My Joy is the name of it, by the way.
I read her first book in 3 days. So.
Right. And so, Coy, we want to thank you. You're up there with Jennifer Lewis and doing your thing, and we appreciate that, and appreciate everyone's support in this.
I'm hearing about Emmy nominations or something, Coy.
Yeah. I say so.
It'll look really nice sitting back behind me right here.
What happened to the flowers, Coy?
They're right here.
Yeah, we haven't seen the plants in a while, have we, guys?
Yeah, she's been watering them with sweet tea, Sybil. Look, they don't even look the same.
I know.
Plants are dead.
I know.
Put some rock in them,
they look a little leaning. They look a little limp, Coy.
They are. They're leaning. I'm trying to break them down into other pots. I'm afraid to do it, but they have outgrown these huge pots that I bought for them.
Okay.
So
Tell your boyfriend smoke is bad for plants.
You don't even do that.
Let's talk about what else is going on. Have you all contacted your folks from Alaska to Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic to check on folks? The remnants of Typhoon Merbok struck western Alaska over the weekend, the worst storm to hit the area in 50 years. Photos show the inundated roads and buildings, massive waves pouring and hitting the coast. A coordination of things is not working because people are underwater. According to the governor, the storm's waves caused flooding and damage along 1,000 miles of the state's coastline. And it weakened Sunday, but still threatening smaller communities in Alaska's northwestern coast. And this is a bad time because it's hunting season in Alaska. And this is where people go out and shoot the animals for their food for the rest of the season. And so now
things are a bad time, but a good time for the animals.
Yeah, it is a good time if they survive this horrific flooding. Absolutely. Now, Hurricane Fiona has threatened Puerto Rico seriously.
There's a hurricane in Puerto Rico. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it if you watched MSNBC or CNN.
Right. They're talking about the Queen.
That's all they're talking about.
That's all they're talking about. Yeah. So
they don't care.
Let me throw out the conversation about the Queen. Okay. But Hurricane Fiona is 5 years after Maria, another slow-moving storm catches that island at its absolutely worst moment. They have not recovered from Maria in many respects. It slammed into Puerto Rico Sunday afternoon, causing widespread destruction, leaving over 1 million residents without power, 700,000 without running water. The National Weather Service has warned that and it's just a Category 1 storm, but it is a powerful one, and caused life-threatening and catastrophic flooding. And yesterday was the day for the Dominican Republic. And they say the effects of this are just devastating in so many different ways.
People are still recovering from the first one.
Exactly. Exactly.
I just hope President Biden get down there and throw out some paper towels as soon as he can.
So, Chris, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, he's got to get down there, but if he picks up one paper towel, I will just and he won't repeat that horrific
he's
thing.
He's not that person at all.
No, he's absolutely not. Absolutely
Chris,
not.
make sure you call out peoples down in Puerto Rico too.
Right.
We need to. Please check on your people. I have friends in who have family in Alaska, all the way to Puerto Rico. We have been to Puerto Rico, and of course, family and friends there. But just on the Joiner cruises alone, the number of times that we've stopped into Puerto Rico and benefited from their hospitality.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Dora Levette Tiggs, my nephew is stuck in the PR right now, trying to get out. Well, we are praying that he does get out. Dora's on Facebook sharing that with us. And please let us know. Dora, keep us up to date on how he's doing and when he is able to get out. But also, and this is something I talked with, I was listening to the show we did with the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. Let us know what we can do. We want to help. And certainly whatever way we can, if it's helping one family, a block, a community, let's get started. Let's get in there and do what we can to help the people out. Absolutely. Okay, so I won't mention that I was the only one up at 4 or 5 o'clock this morning listening to the Queen's final services. This is the 96-year-old Queen has now been buried after 10 days of mourning, and the family will go through another week of mourning.
Hold on, something's off.
I boycotted that too.
Something's off.
Hug.
Sybil's talking about 10 days of mourning, and Coy broke out into a cackle.
I know. And Huggy just turned his head.
No, I was looking for something. I wanted to add to that.
But I will tell you that a lot of my interest with the Queen goes back a ways, and it's because of two people that were not treated well by the monarchy, and that was Princess Diana and the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. And I wanted to see how she was going to be treated in this particular instance, and I don't think they fared well. And I don't know that this king will know what to do with them.
I just saw a video. I don't know how accurate it was.
Thank you, Keisha Michelle Brown on Facebook. I was alone.
All alone.
I was all alone.
This has turned into the Sybil Royal Roast.
The Royal Roast.
Bring it. I don't mind because I get this all the time. I get it all the time.
I saw a video of King Charles shaking people's hand, and it was a brother, and he skipped. Have you seen the video?
Shut up!
Like he was at Sesame Place, Sybil. I mean,
oh God!
Pull up the video.
So last week I did the story about not all Black folks, especially, are mourning the Queen because of the centuries of colonialism on the continent of Africa, the continent of Asia, with Indian people, and This is real, and how this changes, and if this king is able to adapt to the changes and give the people their countries back, and give them reparations for all the years, like Jamaica is one country that we used as an example. So come on, let's do it. Let's
give them back the stolen jewels and the crown.
And then there's that, Coy.
Only Harry has it in him to do that, and he's not in line to be the king.
And he's no longer in line.
That's probably why they took him out, because they knew.
Well, they took him out because of that whole black baby thing that started, and what skin color was the Archie going to be?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Stop me if you've heard this before, but Jordan memorabilia. Jordan memorabilia going for big bucks over this past weekend. Huh? $10 million?
For a hoop earring, Sybil?
No, for a jersey, a used jersey.
Well, let's hope it's used.
The jersey worn by Michael Jordan in the first game of the '98 NBA Finals was sold for $10.1 million, breaking the record for game-worn sports memorabilia. Also, the most expensive Jordan item ever sold.
Wow.
Chris, we're going to give you the final word on that.
Wow. Well, I mean, I know a Wilt Chamberlain jersey. There's no joke here. A Wilt Chamberlain jersey is being sold right now for like 1.8 million. So yeah, it was his very first jersey.
Which was bought by Nick Cannon. So I heard.
And probably another 100 women after that. Yeah. All right, you guys, thank you for participating in our trending topics. And I stand alone. I'm okay with that. With the whole Watch of the Queen. I'm done with him now because I hope that Harry and Meghan will go home and live a good life and not have to be,
Subject to all that.
Subject to all of that, Huggy. Thank you. Let's move to
racism. All
that. Let's move to entertainment, and it's good to be the woman king. Huh? The new movie starring Viola Davis as the leader of an all-female set of warriors took the #1 spot the first weekend at the domestic box office with a surprising for some, $19 million, according to Sony Films. Anybody see it?
No,
not yet.
I did not see it. My wife saw it and my daughter saw it, and they both loved it.
They said it was great, but I hear some talks about it.
So there's some conversation about history and what role this particular tribe, I've heard
participated, supposedly.
Yeah, the Homie tribe and participated in the slave trade.
Right.
And so I think that warrants some investigation, and not take away from the power of this movie. Right. Directed by a Black woman, starred and produced by a Black woman.
I heard it was great.
It really is good. It's long and it is violent. So I will warn you. I thought about this because I was texting with some girlfriends and encouraging them to go see it. And one said, I really want to see it. Violent.
It was violent.
But and she has like a 13-year-old daughter or soon to be, and I don't know what her level of acceptance of this kind of violence is, because it is extremely violent and graphic. But I do recommend it because I'm telling you, Coy, you would absolutely love to see all of these women and empowered by and being a part. They are the warrior women of this tribe. And the way that they go out, wow. So
my only concern about the movie is I heard that several times, just out of habit, she kept doing her Michelle Obama lips. I am the warrior.
I didn't see that. I wasn't looking for it, but I didn't see it. And there were not the Viola tears that we have become accustomed to, the crying and the and the running of the nose.
You is kind.
Show range.
You is beautiful.
And you are a warrior, Viola Davis. We thank you for that. They thought that it might come in closer at $12 million. And so this 19 million, they of course underappreciated the power of the people going to see this movie and supporting Gina Prince Bythewood, as well as Viola Davis and the incredible cast of women. I'm telling you, thinking about it again, I'm going to go see it a second weekend, and I hope people will go and make an impact at the box office this second weekend.
At what point will the powers that be in Hollywood understand that if they let us build it, we will come? If they how many times they didn't think Black Panther. They didn't think Black Panther.
Come on, Chris.
Globally is the highest grossing Marvel movie ever.
Yes.
So, I mean.
Come on.
Let us do what we do.
Come on. And as you say, you make it.
We still got to prove. We still got to prove to them.
Yep.
No matter how successful a project is, we still got to prove.
Absolutely.
Even after the numbers.
The numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie, but we're going to give you a test run.
Yeah.
What?
Right.
What? Come on.
And look and see what kind of commercials they run for this, what kind of spots you see on television, not online. But if you are one who still watches television, watch and see what they do this week in promoting this movie, because you didn't see a lot, and certainly not what other.
Actually, no, I haven't seen a lot anywhere.
Yeah.
To be honest, not on any streaming apps or YouTube, nothing.
So let's see what they do this week, Coy, and in engaging people to be a part of this, right?
Because they save money on advertising
Yeah.
for a movie like
Word of
this
mouth.
because they know the power of Black people on social media.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I highly recommend it. And I will warn you that if you're one who drinks all your beverage early on, it's 2.5 hours long. So check out the app Run P.
Well, Papa.
And as we close out today's show with our daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels.
Yogi's Juice.
I'm sorry, what was that? Huggy?
Yogi's Juice.
Juice.
We used to sing. We got cuts. Chris, they cut out our contract.
They got canceled.
We got canceled. Remember we used to sing that Yogi's Juice?
I
They
know.
go right to it now. We
I
take
know.
too long. Go ahead.
Okay.
No. I'd like to hear it if you want to give us a little
I
something.
just said it, Sybil. Yogi's Juice. Go ahead.
Today's jewel is good communication is the core of a good relationship. Good communication is the core of a good relationship. And our good relationship.
Is she talking to you again this week,
I
Huggy?
think-
Every damn week.
Thanks, my friends. I appreciate it. Congratulations, Coy. We are very glad that you are on your way to
I'm
getting
free!
justice.
Hold on, before we go,
F-R-E-E. We gotta go turn up at the tree house.
No, we're not. Go ahead, lift
Oh
up
no, I
lift
gotta
up
be
your
careful
leg.
for the next 6 months.
All right.
Raise your leg so we can see your monitor.
Dr. Mark says, great jewel with a heart. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you all again soon. Have a good one. Aloha.